Hey, there he is.
How are you?
I'm giving you the introduction as I was waiting for you. I was saying you've been in real estate for 20 years, and prior to that, you were selling technology, and super excited to have you here.
Oh, I'm super psyched. Sorry for the little technical delay.
No worries.
My Zoom camera wasn't working on my computer, and I was like, "What's going on?" So I had to restart. Forgive me for the delay.
No worries, no worries. How's the weather there? I know you're getting some snow up that way.
It's snowing.
Nice. See, we don't even know what that is down here in South Florida. We're like, snow, cold. What is that?
I'd rather come to Florida.
Well, come on down.
I know,
We'll be
right?
happy to host you. Oh, great. Well, I'm glad you're here. I don't know if you know this, Sven, that I actually grew up an hour away from your office.
No way. Where?
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Medway. Tiny
Not far
little
away
town.
at all.
Yeah, an hour. I looked it up on the map. I was like, that's got to be close to where I lived. And my parents live in the same house that I lived in, that we moved to when I was 2.
No way.
Yeah,
So
and
Medway, Mass.
And the best part is it looks just like it did when I was 2.
That's great. How cool is that? Well, Massachusetts is great. I grew up in Connecticut originally, and then I actually moved here after college and then met my wife and stayed here ever since. So it's been an amazing place to be, an amazing place to raise our family, which has been great. So it's just cold.
It's just cold. Yeah.
I'm in Massachusetts too, and we've got a bit of snow here out the window. I'm Joan, and I'm in Massachusetts too. I live in Marlborough now, but this is
Okay.
my window. I don't know if you can see out the window here, my backyard.
wow.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, isn't that pretty?
That is pretty. Well, thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be here.
So Sven, let's just jump into it here. So 20 years ago, you decided to make this crazy transition to real estate.
Yes.
So what made you want to get into real estate?
I had no idea. I was getting laid off from a job. And I had a situation where I was like, my wife is a school teacher. She looked at me and she goes, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I'm not really sure." I said, I think I want to sell real estate. So I got a severance package from my company. They said, my wife looks at me. She goes, "You really want to do this?" I said, "Yes." And she's like, "You have no idea what you're doing." I'm like, "Absolutely." And if I can sell software and I can sell people to break into computer network systems, we would call ethical hacking in the past, I can do this job. So it's about connecting with people and relationships. And that's what I love about it. So my father was a builder and I would build houses with him. We'd roof and dig trenches and sheetrock and everything. So I actually had a little bit of a background in construction on the residential front, and then just got into real estate. And it's been interesting. I started with a company that's no longer in my town, which is a big company that we all know. And then I moved to a different company with a balloon. And then I switched gears to come to Keller Williams because I was using all the models that were part of, Keller Williams. And I just said, I got to do something different. I want to do something that is different. I'm using all the models, but I'm actually with the company. So I was like, why don't I just go with the company where everybody uses the same models and uses the same language? And it was the best thing I've ever done. So I switched gears, and it was awesome.
I'm very glad you joined us and that you're here.
Well,
so on this call, we have a range of agents, from brand new agents who just got into the business to people who've been doing this 30, 40 years. What would you say was one of the hardest things in the beginning when you first got started?
I think the hardest thing for me was the intimidation factor. When I first started, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I know. I don't know what I not know. And I had a individual who I thought was going to guide me the right way, who I was trying to learn from, basically a senior agent in this area, say to me, "I'm not going to help you. You should get out of this business." And I was like, wow, that was my day one on the job. And I said to myself from that day forward, I'm never going to do that to anybody else. And I want to help other people. So the hardest part was the intimidation factor of making sure that I do everything I can do to be able to convert business. And so when I first got into the luxury market in my community, I mean, our average price point's $1.7 million in our town. And it continues to grow. And so it's a little town just north of Boston, 8 miles. The train literally is like 500 feet this way.
Oh, wow.
My office to Boston, and you get 2 train stops and you're in Boston. But what's great about this community is the education that you get for your kids. And it's close to the city. So I was just intimidated by people because I was younger and they were more seasoned. And so I thought, but they weren't very professional. So what I did is elevate my game, and I got my first luxury listing and I capitalized on it. I started to understand the market. I started to learn all the inventory. I started to go to all the houses and I started to know the agents. And then from there, it just ballooned, and we started to build the relationships and the reputation to be able to help that grow. And it's been an amazing road ever since. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is relationships and knowledge, or getting enough knowledge to feel comfortable, and then getting relationships so that you know who to talk to and who to go to.
Yeah, I think here's a situation when you're starting off with this business, if you're not killing people with kindness to get started and actually not asking for anything, but actually figuring out how you can help somebody else, right? I think great book is Go Givers, Sell More is a great book. It's all about what you can do for other people. And if you come from a place of giving, you're going to be in a better position. A lot of people in this business don't know how to do that and didn't want to do that. I was always about what can I do for other people. And when I first started this business, if you can do that for a senior agent in your community that you're trying to break into, I think it goes a long way. And ultimately, if you do the right thing by people, it comes back to you. You do the wrong thing and it comes back to you. I'll never forget the reputation of that individual that said that. I saw her at an event actually this past week, and I just remember every single time I see her, I remember that. And she's no longer in the business really. So It's one of those things that you try to do. You always live your life the way you should be living. And I think if you give something to somebody else, like, how can I help you in your world? That's a better place. And I think it's hard when you're starting off in the business, but I think the more that you can be open for somebody, the more that you can find for them, that it'll help anything, right? Like if it's an older person and you're in the market and they want to learn about social media and you're a great social media specialist, then reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, I'm doing this, things help me in my business. Maybe it'll help you. If I can ever be of service, let me know, like anything else. Right. And I've always said to people, listen, if you're in a market and you're not sure how to get an opportunity or get in front of a luxury client, ask for an open house for a senior agent that may not want to do it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right. Get in front of people at an open house, because that's going to start to convert, and they're going to see you at an open house and they're going to start to see you more and more of those things. And that's going to be huge. Right.
And then you just get more and more comfortable with that clientele, and how do you talk to them?
Correct. Right. Because what happens is, if you're nice to people at open houses and you're friendly to people, I mean, I've actually come to people have come back to me and said, Sven, I met you 7 years at an open house, 7 years ago at an open house. I go, what open house? Because I don't remember them, but I remember the open house. And they'll talk about the house, and then I'll say, okay, I remember that house. This was it. And she's like, yeah, you remember it. And so I think those pieces make a difference when you're connected to the right people, because they'll want to help you. Right. Right. And I think if you're at an open house and you're wondering what to do for somebody, it's like, a typical agent goes, hey, here's an open house. Go sign in here and take a look. If you have any questions, let me know. Worst thing you can do. Right. Phil Jones would say to you, right? Because I'm friends with Phil, and every single thing we would do, we challenge our team. We say, you do 2 different things. And if you're going to do an open house, these are the things that you should ask, right? Where are you coming from today? What brings you to this open house? Those 2 questions, where are you coming from, really gives you an understanding about what it is, because I'm coming from Boston, or I'm coming from Charleston, or I'm coming from Florida and Miami. Like, what brings you to the cold snow weather, right? I'm being transferred. Great. So those things make a difference. The other thing that we do when we do an open house is, hey, listen, my challenge for you is to find the amazing thing that's in the backyard. Go on that and see what you think about it, because I'll share it with you when you come back and talk to me. And it does 2 things. It builds a connection with them, and it actually puts them in a space that allows you to be able to do something different and challenge them a little bit. So if they see something in the backyard that's like unique, there's something unique in the backyard that you really want to see. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think it is.
That's pretty cool. I haven't heard that one. We definitely do the where are you coming from, but I love that. It's what's special in the backyard, unique in the backyard. That's
It could be anything though,
yeah,
right? Sandra, it could be, check out the master bath and show
Yeah.
me, there's something unique about the toilet in the master bath. And right, it's that, bidet, right? So just check it out. So there's this, oh my God, I've always wanted one of those, right? So
Right.
like, what little thing can you do within the house that gets them to come back and talk to you so that you can engage and re-engage, right? And
right.
Chris Voss, I do a training, I do a sales negotiation class that I've taught a couple of different times.
I'd like to hear more about that when we get off this call.
Okay, well, I've actually taught it to a bunch of different teams and I'm actually doing more of it. I've taught it locally here and we had a full house with it, but we did a sales negotiation class using some Chris Voss trainings and also some of the intellectual property of Phil Jones, exactly what to say for agents, real estate agents. And we've integrated some of those things. So when you're seeing somebody walk to an open house, there's all this whole thing about mirroring and labeling. So when they walk through the front door, you could say something like, Sandra, it looks like you're having a great day, right? And they're like, yeah, I am, or I'm actually not. And you start to learn a little bit more about them and who they are. And I think those different pieces of the puzzle really engage people because other agents just say, sign in over here, take a look. If you have any questions, let me know. That's not how we do open houses because
Yeah.
we need to engage people. So if
Absolutely.
you're doing any open houses with the luxury market, you need to figure out how to engage them without making it, as I say, gross. Like, ugh, like I don't want it to
Right.
be gross when you talk to people. Right. And
Right.
you
I
don't
love that.
want-
And you're really breaking the ice. Like you're doing it in such a casual, fun way that they're not afraid to have a conversation with you. They're not afraid you're a used car salesman trying to force the car on them, right? So you're able to have break those barriers down and have a legitimate conversation with them.
Yeah, I've used it. It sounds like you're having it looks like you're having a tough day. They're like, walk in like, oh, geez, I got to see another open house. Right? But it's awesome because you can actually, when you do that and you label it, you can actually say, yeah, I'm sick of looking at open houses. I want to buy a house. I'm like, great. What's your experience been with a professional real estate agent that's helped you find a house?
Mhm. I
Like,
love that.
it sucks. I've lost 15 offers because I've never worked with an agent. What if I could show you something off market that would give you the ability to buy it off market where you didn't have to be in a competitive bidding war because I got other houses that are around the corner and new construction that's not finished yet, but it might be something that's a fit. So those things matter, right? I think people
Absolutely.
find different. You've got to find the right thing that's important to them.
What?
Yeah.
Mute
The king.
somebody here. Oh, sorry, there you go.
Somebody's up there.
Muted. So is open houses one of your big strategies, and one of your big success points?
It is that in our referral program.
Okay.
So open houses,
Andersen is
but
one of
it's
the top
just,
luxury agents in the nation. He's
Like a classic, maybe?
sorry.
I think it's background.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. One of the, sorry, there we go. I think one of the biggest pieces is open houses because you get face-to-face with some clients. I mean, we just put a condo on the market here for $1,750,000 and the people that are going to be at that property are going to be converted, people that are going to want to downsize. And that's a 4,200 square foot property. And so, the people that are moving from something larger are probably going to want to consider this opportunity into something different. So I think the more that you can become face-to-face with them and you can engage people on their level without selling something, it's important. I mean, I start off conversations with people like we use the promise. So I don't know how many people are using the promise, but we do that. So if you're not using the promise script and leveraging it, it could cost you. So one of the things that we're doing is we're literally every single buyer contract and every single listing contract, we talk about the promise.
Mhm.
And our promise, even on an initial phone call, is all about making sure that we engage the clientele to make sure that they understand that our expectations are that they're going to give us a 5-star review. And if you go to our website, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're going to see that there's almost 500 5-star Google reviews. And if you go to Zillow, there's another 300 of them. So you'll understand why clients are so enamored with the level of service that we offer. And when you do work with us, you'll actually understand why. So we're going to ask you to write us a 5-star Google review, just like we see on Google. And also we're going to ask you to refer us to at least 2 people through the process, because of all of the things that we're going to do to help you get the house prepared on the listing front, to helping you buy it on the buy front. You're going to say, wow, I promise you. So it makes a
love
big
that.
difference when you're talking to people.
Right.
It really does.
So what percentage of people would you say you get reviews from? I did see when I was preparing for today, you do have almost 500 reviews, which is amazing. And I know that brings you a lot of business. How many people, like what percentage would you say you actually get the reviews from?
90% of them right now.
Wow, that's great. And what does that process look like to get those reviews? Like what's the average times you have to ask in order to get one?
4. Sometimes, ready for this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not asking at least 4 times through that, you're not going to get what you need. So Janice Green, the promise scripts, if you Google the promise script, it's just, the promise script is a whole program around just asking for 2 things. Our promise to you, Janice, is that we're going to deliver a 5-star white glove level service to you. And along the way, you're going to actually experience this 5-star review. And those reviews are going to be something that, all these people write us reviews, and we're going to ask you along the way for those reviews. So we're also going to ask you through this process to actually recommend and refer us to at least 2 people during this process, so that we can actually help other great people like yourself. Mike Hicks is the man that started it. He's an amazing human being in our top 200 group, just an awesome person. And he did start the promise. He delivers it in such an amazing way, and we've actually just leveraged it and use it. But we have a checklist for how to deliver that promise script. And we actually have it set up so that from the initial phone call, with the appointment being set, we talk about it with our ISA, to the conversation for our first meeting with myself or a team agent, if they're on the buy side or the sell side. Number 2. Number 3, when the transaction gets presented and put in place with the transaction coordinator, number 3. And then along the way, when I'm back involved or somebody else is, number 4. Once the purchase and sales agreement in Massachusetts, we're attorneys involved, so we have a different phased approach. So along the way, there's a 4th step. And if we don't get it there, we actually asked it at the mortgage commitment date. When the mortgage is delivered to the buyer or the seller, we ask it there. There's 5. And at the end, of course, we ask it again if we don't get it. So do we ask a lot? We do. Do we get them? We do. And to answer the question, we get 90% of them. And we've actually upped that because of the way we actually track it.
That's great. Now, we all have that one client that just gives us a hard time. We've got actually like 4 of them right now. So what about those clients? What do you do about them?
Give me an example. Like what's wrong? What's challenging? Because listen, I've had my fair share of challenging clients. So what is it though? Like, what are you struggling with? What's the goal of them?
Yeah. So let me just give you, I'll give you one, that everything is a problem. Everything, you sign something and then she says, that's not what I wanted to sign. I wanted it to be 2 more weeks. You didn't get me a post occupancy. I didn't ask for a post occupancy, but now I'm mad that you didn't give me one. The appraisal came in, but you won't tell me what the appraisal is. I don't know what the appraisal is because we're on the listing side. You know, like everything is a challenge with a client. How do you handle that?
So Sandra, that is to me, and I love the question because I think it comes down to a process, in my opinion. And Sandra, I'm not trying to challenge you in that sense. There's going to be challenging people along the way. I've actually released, a client on a builder's construction front I just didn't want to do business with. And so sometimes you have to release them. That's one way to do it. And you're like, wait a minute, but it's $3 million. It's a 5 million, whatever it is. Sometimes those people just suck the life out of you, right?
Yep.
The other way to do it though, is to start exactly today with future pacing the client. So if you're future pacing the client about what's going to happen next, then you're going to actually be in the driver's seat for it. So I know you probably do that, but we do it to the nth degree. So
Mhm.
every single phone call that we have, we future pace somebody, every single phone call.
I
It's
love that.
pacing
I
it.
love
So
the term future pace. I love
we
that.
always future pace the client. Our entire team knows to do it. So you have to make sure that you set proper expectations for the client, and you have to future pace them. If you didn't hang up the phone call and tell them what's going to happen next, then you didn't do your job. So whether it's a lead, it's the next phone call is, listen, would it be okay for me to call you back in a month to make sure that we can stay in touch so that we can do what we need to do to help you find what you're looking for? Yeah, I'm not ready, but call me back in a month and we'll set it up. Does Tuesday or Thursday work better for you? Thursdays are much better because I'm working from home. Perfect. In the morning? Yep, perfect time. Great. I'll call you at around 10 a.m. on Thursday in about a month. That's this date. Does that work? Great. I'm always future pacing them for what we do.
Mhm. I love
Yeah.
it. So I know you have a big team. How do you get your team to do the same standard? So what does that training for your team look like?
It's basically setting those pieces in place with doing role plays with them, and also making sure that the consultations that we do, which is we call them, instead of consultation, we call them strategy sessions. And if you could change your vocabulary and use strategy sessions, you're in the driver's seat. So what we do is, if you have an existing relationship with a seller or buyer, you could call it your seller strategy session for 2024, where you're talking to them about what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
Same thing for the buy side. So we talk about those, but we actually I role play it with my team members. So Sandra, I put them in a room with me, and I do a consultation with them, and I actually talk to all these different things.
Mhm.
So I do it, then they do it, and I'm watching them.
Right.
So if you're not watching people, what they're doing and saying, then it doesn't help you get what you need to do. And I get involved in transactions if they're going sideways too, because I want to make sure that we keep deals together. This is the
Right.
most important thing that we can do as leaders, is make sure that you keep deals together and make sure that you're involved with your team members to know what's going on. Because I
Mhm.
guarantee you, so Sajeg is my coach, and Sajeg will talk to you, and he's saying to me, listen, and he was on a call. He's like, there's people struggling on your teams right now. They're dying. They're struggling with this business. They're struggling with keeping money together to pay for bills. And so unless you're involved with their daily actions and understanding what they're doing and what they need to have, then you're not doing your job. So you've got to stay on top of that relationship and making sure that you understand what they need so that you can give it to them.
Mhm.
And some
Love
people
that.
need different things, right?
Right.
Some agents need different pieces of the puzzle, but you've got to stay connected to them. So we do a weekly check-in with them to make sure that they're on point, and if there's any challenges, we deal with it.
Love it.
That
So
answered
that's
your question.
No, you did great. So that's a good segue into, so obviously you did great last year, despite the fact that the market was down and there's a lot of people struggling. And like you mentioned, there's agents getting out of the business. What would you say was the biggest thing that helped you survive and be successful last year, where so many agents were struggling?
The phone.
I love it. Love it.
It sounds crazy, but it's so true. If I'm not on the phone with people, then I'm not doing my job. Same thing for the agents, right? The more commitment that you have for people being on the phone, and the more connections that you have with your past sphere and your clients, the better off you'll be. One of the things that we've done too is we've rolled out our VIP referral program. And our VIP referral program is one of those tools that we've leveraged to actually help our clients stay more connected to us. We have our newsletter. So if anybody would like our newsletter so you can see what we're doing, email Prescott@Andersen Group Realty, and we'll send you our newsletter so you can copy and rip off and duplicate the newsletter. It's PRESCOTT at Andersen Group Realty, and it's Andersen with an EN instead of an ON. So you can
Love
see it there. Prescott@Andersen Group Realty. He'll send you the newsletter. But
Awesome.
there you
Thank
go.
you for
Thank you for
sharing that.
posting that. You put it right. It's perfect in there. Thank you. It's in the thread. So if you have any questions, you can get our newsletter, and you can stay connected to us on social media too. But ultimately, it's about staying connected to your past clients, because if you are, you're going to be more successful in the business. Period.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
this is critically important. Don't just let somebody on your team text the transaction coordinator, text them or do this. Listen, on Saturday night, I was making phone calls till 6:30 at night on a Saturday night from my office, because I was trying to make sure that I stayed connected with my past clients. And I would just I would just pick up the phone and say, hey, Sandra, I just was calling to say hello. I know it's been a long time. It's been a year since you've been in your house. I'm literally just calling to say hello and what I can do to help, if anything, around the house and or with any friends or family that are thinking about making a move. I got 2 referrals from making 30 phone calls.
Wow, that's great.
Well, why though? Because I'm not calling to ask for anything. I'm giving them their referral, a VIP referral program, telling them what that's all about. And by the way, because we actually did that, we got 2 referrals out of it. It was huge.
That's great. That's great. So one of the reasons I think people are a little bit afraid to call their past clients, now try not to laugh, but this is what I hear, is that they actually get people on the phone, 1, and 2, that then sometimes they get stuck. They're on there for 15, 20 minutes and they're like, I was supposed to make 30 calls and I only made 3 because they talked my ear off. You have any strategies for that?
Yeah. Either talking your ear off or connecting with people.
Let's just go with the talking your ear off.
So talking your ear off is great. Say, and the conversation starts off with, Sandra, I know I'm calling you on a Saturday night, right after dinner, or right before dinner. I don't want to be intrusive to people, but I'm also trying to make sure that I call enough people today to make sure that I say hello. And I want to make sure that you're one of them. So I started off the phone call with doing what? I future paced them with what I'm doing. Because if I pick up the phone call, I'll be like, Sandra, I was thinking about you. It's really important. And I was reaching back out, which is true. You were doing that. You can go back to the conversation in between the conversation with them talking about their dog and their family and everything else, which is really important for you to understand, because that might change something, to saying, you remember when I first started this conversation, I talked about making sure that I stayed in touch with a number of my clients. Well, what I'm doing is I want to make sure that I get in touch with some other folks as well, just like I did with you. And I know you can appreciate it. I want to make sure I don't take too much time away from your family.
I love it.
So if I could we set up another call? Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's get coffee next week. Let's meet for coffee. And when you meet with coffee, you say, listen, you get there, you say, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that we're going to get together for a coffee. I'd love to make sure that you know that I've got another appointment right at 11. So we got 50 minutes to be able to make sure that we talk, right? So that we can get to my next appointment. But I want to make sure I share that. So you're future pacing everything.
That's
we talk
brilliant.
about future pacing, but you have to make sure that you future pace, because if people don't know that they have something else after this meeting or something else, they'll just keep talking to you.
Right. Yep. And I think we all experience that. And that's where I feel like a lot of agents are like, yeah, I don't want to pick up. I want to text because then I don't get stuck on the phone. So I love that. I love your suggestions of how to say it at the beginning and then circle it back at the end. So it sounds to me, Sven, like your superpower is how to talk to people.
I love talking to people. I absolutely, it's one of those things that I love about this business, is that you get to talk to people the right way. You get to connect with them and you get to understand what they're going through and dealing with, right? I've got 3 girls. One's in college right now as a sophomore. Another one's out there going to Fairfield University next year. And one's at URI, one's in Fairfield, going to Fairfield. And I've got a situation with my parents who live in Florida, who are aging. So I'm in this mode of like dealing with aging parents and college kids, which neither one I've really done well before, because I've never done it before. So I tell people, I'm like, yeah, I'm dealing with some aging parents and some other stuff that's going on. I know you're probably dealing with the same thing at your age. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So now you build that common bond. And I think that's really important when we talk to people, right? Because I think sometimes I tell my team, don't just talk to people, talk at people. Put something else in there about who you are and why it's so important to you, right? Like in that conversation, like, yeah, I've got big goals for 2024. I'm swimming across Buzzards Bay in Cape Cod, which is 1.2 miles in June. And they're like, what? So yeah, my commitment to myself and my team and my family is that I want to do something different and make something hard to challenge myself. And that's what we're doing in 2024. So like things like that make a difference, because people want to know that you're committed to what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I think it doesn't, why do I say that on the call? Because there's other things that you might have for big goals for 2024 and talk about your big goal, right? So, because other people want to hear that.
They do, and it makes you human and it makes them feel relational with you. It makes them feel like you care enough if you're going to share your story with them.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of connecting and talking, what do you do past client events or any kind of events throughout the year?
Absolutely. So somebody was asking about our VIP program. So you might want to write some of these events down if you don't already. And I'm going to start from our holiday cards all the way backwards. So we don't do a Christmas card. We do a New Year's Eve card, a New Year's card. And then we go into Thanksgiving. So we do our Thanksgiving pie event. This is our office. This is our mega agent luxury office in Boston, in Winchester. So we have over 300 pies on this table right here. And we give away
Beautiful.
350
Beautiful space.
pies. Yeah, thanks. But we gave away 350 pies to our clients. So if people walk in, it's one of our biggest events of the year because we actually don't ask for business. People come in because they get something from us and they're like feeling obligated and they give us, hey, my friend's actually thinking about selling. I'm actually going to think about buying an investment property. That's a huge opportunity. In addition to that, we do our Father's Day event. So we actually rent out a brewery. So we rent a local brewery out for the event, and we have a part of it where we do cornhole. We have a cornhole tournament. We actually give away prizes. We gave away a grill, and we gave some cool things for dads for Father's Day. We actually do a VIP wine event. So we actually have this year we're going to do we used to do a wine event at the Capitol Grill. We actually blocked off the part of the Capitol Grill and we had a sommelier there. So we did a wine event with the past hors d'oeuvres that was co-sponsored by our attorney and our lenders. So we actually zero-based that. That actually cost us nothing to do that event. And it was probably a $15,000 event at that time.
Wow.
So if you do it right, you can get the right partners to support it. But we also did we do our client event for all of our families. So we rent out it's called Kimball Farms here in Massachusetts. It's a venue where there's all kinds of outdoor events. They have all you can eat hamburgers and hot dogs, and it's a ice cream bar and everything else. And there's all kinds of different events outside. So people get a wristband and spend the day with us, and it's pretty cool. We give away prizes and we have different events there. So with our vendors. So it's actually a really cool kind of time. And then we do a movie night. So we actually have a movie night for some of our clientele. And when I did Frozen, that was the biggest event that I had, because if anybody knows, I've got, as I said, I've got 3 girls. And at the time, my daughter was like, Dad, there's a reindeer named Sven. So I gave away 150 reindeers to all the kids that came to the event. We had a backdrop with our logo on it, and we actually shot photos with, a princess, and it was cool. It was a good event, cool event. Way to stay connected to people. Asking for nothing. We did 3 raffles at the event. Ask for, and when you ask for raffles, make sure that you, in the raffle cards that people put their names on, don't just put their names. Put if they're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, or knowing somebody that does, on the raffle cards. Because when you put their name in there and you pull their name out of it randomly, there's other people that are in that bowl or that whatever you're pulling out with opportunities. So you got to make sure that you do that.
Love it. Love it. Do you work
We
with
do that
them
at every event, by the way.
I'm sorry?
We do that at every event. So the standard card is, what's your name? What's your phone number? Do you need any help around the house with vendors? Number 1. Number 2, and if so, what is it? So that we can understand what they need. And number 2, do you know anybody in your circle or sphere that needs help from someone like yourself that needs to either buy, sell, or invest in 2024? Please provide our name, because you'll then be part of our VIP referral program.
I love it.
And we talk about the VIP referral program at the start of the event, so everybody knows about our VIP program. And if you're a past client, you get a phone call, Sandra, from me saying, Sandra, I want to make sure that we say hello and let you know about our VIP referral program. And those pieces go out the door. So it's cool.
I love it. You've created a whole process, a whole program around it. It's not just a one-time, like, this is what we're doing. It's you're repeating it and you're tying it all together in a nice, pretty package.
Yeah. So in summary, somebody asked me what the VIP referral program is. You don't have to be a client to be part of the VIP referral program. So you don't have to buy, sell, or invest with us. You just have to recommend somebody that's going to buy, sell, or invest with us in 2024. And if they do, they'll be part of the program for a full year.
Okay.
So they get to go to our wine dinner at a local restaurant that's going to be a wine dinner here for those pieces. They actually get immediately when they refer us, no matter who they are, no matter who refers us, whether they sign a contract with us or not, they immediately get a handwritten note card on our letterhead that's customized from moo.com. If you haven't gone to moo.com for your business cards and your other things, go to moo.com and get all of your luxury business cards and your luxury notepad stuff and anything at moo.com. In addition to that, though, they get a custom card written out from me to basically deliver the level of service that we need to say that we deliver with our 5-star VIP referral program, and that gets with a Starbucks gift card in that letter. Thanks a lot. Enjoy a coffee on me. We really appreciate it.
That's great. You're doing a lot of touches throughout the process. Who's in charge of all that for you? Do you have somebody that's literally their whole job?
Yeah, so I have a director of operations who runs all those touches, and those pieces basically allow me to be client facing and on the phones. He does all the other things in the back end with all the email newsletters, with all the programs. I mean, we did a Valentine's Day giveaway where we gave a $200 gift card to a pretty high-end restaurant here. If people in Massachusetts know, it's moo.com, which is a group. So it's a high-end steak restaurant. But not only did I give them the gift card, I actually called a month ago and set 3 different reservations at 3 different restaurants for some of our past clients so that they can actually go on Valentine's Day and look like a rock star to their wife. Or spouse, I should say, one or the other. So
Nice.
but it's cool, like things like that we do that make a difference to people and they still want to stay connected to us. So
Love it. So great information, and I've seen a lot of questions coming up in the chat. So I want to just open it up for questions because you are a wealth of knowledge here. So
cool.
Crystal, you want to read off some of them that we haven't? I know he answered a few of them as they popped up. And if you have more questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to them.
Okay, so you mentioned a book in the beginning. I think you said it was called Great Givers, but somebody was trying to find the author. There's several with that title.
Go Givers, Sell More.
Go Givers, Sell More.
Sell More, yeah. There's a whole series on Go Givers. So in this life, there's givers and takers. You know who the takers are. You know that, right? And so here's the deal, right? In life, if you give more, you'll get more. So Gary Vaynerchuk would always say, listen, give at least 3 things and then ask for the 4th, but don't ask for anything out of the gate. So if you give enough information to somebody, what's your name? I'm sorry.
Me, I'm Crystal.
Yeah. Crystal, you asked the question, like, which is the name of the book, but here's the deal, Crystal. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate and you're looking to buy something, Crystal, I know it sounds like you're trying to figure out this process and navigate this. And I don't know if this is going to be something that you're going to try to do now and buy something in the next 12 to 15 months. But if it is, would it be helpful for you to get some sold data for market data in the areas that you're looking that could give you some ideas about price per square foot, days on market, or anything else like that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Let me share that with you. Also, we have our listing of all the schools in the area that actually have the data for all the school information. So if you have people that are kids that want to get into school, there's different school data that we have, and or the transportation information for the shuttles and or the trains, buses, etc. If you like any of that information, we have all of it at our fingertips. We can send it to you.
Sven, what a great way to get them to trust you and want to work with you without being pushy. I love that.
Listen, I hate being sold anything. If somebody tries to sell me something, I'm out. Don't even do that. Here's the deal, right? And Phil Jones would always say, if you ask more questions, you can never be wrong. If you ask enough questions, you can never be wrong. And if you think about that, it's so true. So the more questions you ask, like, you can actually learn so much more from people if you just ask more questions. So, I don't know. Hope that answers the question about the book. So that's a great book, by the way.
All right, I'm
Awesome.
ordering
Thank
it when
you.
we hang up.
Yep.
Okay. Next question, Crystal?
Yes. So several people were asking for more information on your negotiation class. So how can we connect with you and get information on that?
Let me talk about that. You know what I should do? I should talk to Brady and to Caroline and actually set that class and do it here.
That'd be
The
amazing.
luxury through and Sandra, that's not taken away from you, I hope, but I would love to be able to have that part of the KW luxury group, because I think I've taken different components of different pieces and put it together and made it my own. But I think that class that I've taught, which was a day-long class, would be something that I think people would benefit from. And I think just leveraging the negotiation pieces that I've taken from some of what I've done and how I've leveraged it would be helpful. So I guess if people want to learn about the negotiation class and be part of that, if you want to email Prescott at Andersen Group, he loves me, by the way, that guy Prescott, he loves me. Prescott at Andersen Group Realty, and just ask he's been with me for 10 years. He's an amazing human being, just an awesome guy. But when you email him, just say Prescott, real estate negotiation class would be something that you could put in the subject line, interested. He'll get back to you and we'll set up a time to do that. If everybody's interested in that call, I'll certainly put something together. Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Probably we'll do it after family reunion.
Oh, you don't think you can fit it in the next week?
I don't think so. I don't think I can get it right. I don't think I have enough time to do that. So
That's right. We need something to look forward to after family reunion.
hey,
So
you
that's a
never know, right?
great idea.
Good.
I love it.
Good.
All right, Crystal, you got any more?
I think they were all answered because some people were asking more about the promise, and another few people shared the link to get the promise from Mike Hicks. And then about the VIP referral program, you kind of dug into how you do your calls and kind of share what that is to your clientele.
Cool. Yeah. So where do we start? Which one do we start with? Hold on. Which one are we going to start with? The VIP program. So the VIP program, it basically starts off with a Starbucks gift card. Listen, you can do what you want to do with some clients. We don't share and post everything to everyone, but we talk about it because there are some expectations that you can and can't do with some amount of money. But I think the reality is that you've got to make this program part of something great. And when we do this VIP referral program, they're enrolled in a bunch of different things. And that those events that we do are specifically for the VIPs only. So they're not going to go to a Italian wine dinner with 5 courses if they're not recommending us. And so they're not going to get to go to the Red Sox game for the box in July with us to go to a Red Sox game. They're not going to do those things and they're not going to get those things. So I make that part of my business to be able to make sure that I do different events for different clients that want to be part of what we're doing. Will some people want to go to the wine event? Absolutely. Will some people want to go to the Red Sox? Absolutely. Will some want to go to one or the other? Absolutely. Will some go to both? Absolutely. So we want to make sure that we have an experience for people so that we can actually have them post socially about the event. Because to me, it's about making sure that I understand how to actually promote and get their folks out into the world of what we're doing for them. And I think what I want to do is make sure that we talk about it. We tell them hey, take a picture, post it out there to your world and let them know what you're doing and tag us. Because quite honestly, that makes our business grow. And so I think if some people are more interested in the promise and excuse me, in the referral program and I want to learn a little bit more about it, we do some different things. We have a black postcard that says you're now part of our VIP program for the year. And we actually send it in a cool box that we've got with kind of cool paper and some other things that allow them to basically be part of this program and feel like they're doing something cool. And it's all through moo.com.
Do you have a cap on how many people can be in that program per year?
Absolutely, 100% no.
I want to be in that program.
Let's go.
I want to do it.
Refer. I love it. Irene has a question.
I do. Thank you, Sven. This is great. There's so many similarities in our business. I never realized it until listening to you now. So I love this. We are also working, we have a VIP program. We're working on systematizing it and packaging it so people know about it better, which is so important. It's like when we do all these things for listings and we don't tell people what they're doing, we don't tell our sellers, they don't understand it. So our challenge for this year is actually putting that VIP program into a package that we can talk about and promote. So I might come to you for some ideas on that. One of the things that we did, and I actually R&D'd this from Linda Lee in California, she did a survey of her VIPs of the events that they wanted. First, it gave her ideas, and second, it really gave her another way to have a sort of a low pressure touch and have a discussion that wasn't all about real estate. So we did that, and we actually just had a draw. We had a $50 gift card to a local hardware store. So we got quite a few responses. We got some interesting ones that we hadn't thought of. So if anybody else wants to steal that idea, it's a really, really nice touch.
Cool. Well, share with us, what were the top two things that they wanted? Because I know a lot of people in my world. I mean, we're right outside of Boston, so there's some different events that we do, and I think some, one of the events that we're considering doing is at a museum for some of our clients that are in the luxury space that want to explore having a wine event at a museum. There's other kind of venues here, so it just depends on what they want. But I'm curious, what was the response from your survey?
Wine was number one.
Wine?
Yeah, we didn't even put a venue. We just put wine tasting, and that was definitely number one. And then charcuterie making classes. That was a big hit as well.
Charcuterie. I love that idea.
How fun.
So I'm actually going to do that, and I'm going to do a digital photography class. So people that have digital cameras, actually, we have a local photography museum here in our town. So we're going to do a digital photography event at my office.
Love that.
Because I asked some of my clients who are friends now, what is it that what they would like, and they'd love to have a 2-hour session about just how to use the settings on their camera for some different things at a high level, not like micro level, right? Because you could get so deep with it, but just at a really high level. So I want to do that myself and learn about it. So I'm actually sponsoring it, and I'm making it an event.
I
That's
love
awesome.
that.
I love it. I love it.
That's a great
Sven,
idea.
do you do both luxury and not luxury?
We do both, but a majority of our listings are on the luxury front.
Okay. And when you have events, are you doing different levels of events for luxury versus not luxury, or it doesn't matter?
For the VIPs, I have a different level event. So if you're recommending us to other people, you're in the VIP group. But I have
Regardless
to
of the
tell
price.
you that I have a client. I was literally driving down the road showing another property that we actually put under agreement to a client who's in the car with me. And this individual is driving down the street. It's Chinese New Year, and he drove home. He saw me. He drove home on his bike. He drove back on his bike with some Chinese tea and a $2 bill, which is lucky for the Chinese New Year, and handed it to me in the window with my client next to me saying, "Happy New Year. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being everything that you are to me. It matters, and I'm grateful for you." And the person in the seat's going, What is that?" And I'm like, he's a client and friend of mine. Just so that you know, 2 weeks before that, I had tickets to the Celtics that I bought that I gave to a client, and guess the client I gave it to? Yep, you guessed it. It was him. Why? Because he gave me 4 different clients that are actually clients that his personal friend in his personal sphere. So I gave him I gave him tickets to a Celtics game. First Celtics game that he took his son to and his parents to, because they're from China, never been to a Celtics game, 4 rows from the floor. And they were like, this is amazing. So,
Wow.
I mean, those things matter in life, right, ladies and gentlemen? And I didn't ask for anything and I didn't do anything, but he's already referred me another person because of that gift. So it makes a difference when you give something
Absolutely.
without asking for something.
And you feel good, right? You feel
Right.
good. Like you're telling a story and I'm getting chills as you're talking about it. So I can
Well-
only imagine how good it made you feel.
Life is about giving back to people, right? And if you can give something to people and they can learn from it and grow from it, you win, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's really important. That's the rule I tell my kids, like make somebody smile today because it matters, right? So it's cool. What else? What else did I miss?
I think we've got a few more things in the chat.
There's a lot in the chat. My God.
A lot of suggestions, like for different types of tastings, whiskey, bourbon, salsa dance class, a lot of good ideas here.
Yeah. We've done, we did a mixology class, which was a big hit too.
Oh, yeah.
So we did a mixology class at a local restaurant and we actually had a bartender come and do that. And so I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to elevate that. I'm going to actually do it at my house with some of the clientele and the couples that I want to actually network with. And I'm going to actually have a bartender come to my house and do that mixology class with a cooking class. So we're going to do high-end margaritas and some other things. So we're going to do something like that at my house, which is going to be kind of cool because I want to have people come to our house.
And how many people do you think you'll invite to that? Will it be all the VIPs or you'll break it down to a smaller group?
No, I'll have probably 5 couples,
Okay.
5 to
when-
10 couples max. So
So it's more intimate. And when you have your VIP events where you invite all of the VIPs, roughly how many people are you inviting?
last event we had it at the Capitol Grill, we had 90 people there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It was cool because people were recommending us and I'm like, and at that point in time, we actually had people that were buying with us. So that's why I'm going to make it smaller and more intimate because we in the VIP past we did with a Capitol Grill, we had a lot of people, but I'm not going to make it like that. It's going to be exclusive. If you've recommended, those are the people that would buy or sell with us or recommend us in the year. And I'm changing that now that if you don't recommend us this year to either somebody that's going to buy, sell or invest, then they're not part of our VIP referral program because that's what it truly is.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
So you got to make sure you stay true to it. My friend Seychelle, I love it. What do your luxury clients expect from your presentations from you? And what do you do to set yourself apart from the client during that process? Seychelle, are you here on the call still? No.
Hey, Sven. Hey, Sven,
Oh,
I'm
hey,
here.
what's up?
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for taking my question. Great. How are you? Thanks for doing everything
Awesome.
today. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. You've given me so much. So I want to make sure I return the favor.
Yeah, I think our question is like, we have agents out on luxury appointments. I would love to know what differentiates you on the appointment and what your client expectations are from you or that you provide versus what you're doing on maybe, like an average price point versus luxury.
So I'm asking questions. So I'm going to list a $2 million property and I walk into the client's house and I actually talk to the husband and I say, hey, what's been your, and this is a great question, ladies and gentlemen, if you might want to write this down, right? 2 questions. What is it that you're looking for from getting out of this experience today? What is it that you're looking for about this meeting today? Like, what is it that you want to get out of it? Number 1, and they'll tell you, like, I just want to know the price. Okay, let's go right to it. Is that all you want? Like, do you want to understand how we differentiate ourselves or anything? No, just the price. Okay, then you start to know where you're at, right, ladies and gentlemen? But the other thing that I ask all the time, and it's really, really, really important, is how can I serve you the best way today? Like, what can I do to serve you and how can I help you? And a client said to me, and I asked this question, what is it that what positive experience have you had with a professional real estate agent? And you have to leverage that term. And Phil Jones would say the same thing. What's been your experience with a professional real estate agent before? What's been your experience with a professional listing agent before? So here's what I heard. Ready for this? This woman, Melissa, was an amazing agent in California when we sold our house in San Francisco. I'm like, tell me more. I didn't say, oh, well, I'm going to be Melissa. I was like, tell me more. What made her so amazing? Guess what I found out, Seychelle? He told me she paid for the painting for my house. So I said, wait, so that made her a rock star? Well, yeah, she moved this, she had her movers come and move things out if we needed it. I'm like, okay, great. So that made her amazing. Yeah. Those two things. Yeah. Amazing. And she took care of everything. Yeah. Great. So guess what I did, Seychelle, to get the listing? Because I was in a competitive bid situation with 2 other agents. Guess what I did?
You moved and painted.
Yeah. But I took it a step further. Here's what I did. And this is what you need to do, ladies and gentlemen. When I was just teaching this other class, I needed to make sure that I did it. Every single vendor, there's my kids, by the way. There's my wife, my family.
Beautiful family.
Yeah. So every single phone, what did I do? I was in front of them, Seychelle, and I picked up the phone call to my painter. Here's my deal. And you need to do this with every single vendor that you have. They're on speed dial. So when I called my painter, every single time I talk to one of my vendors, I say, hey, listen, hey, Renato, he's my painter here. I say, Renato, when I pick up the phone and I call you, I'm typically going to be in front of a client. So I'm going to ask you to always pick up the phone. Because if you don't pick up the phone, it means that you're probably not going to get the business. So when I call you and I ask you to pick up, when I call you and you see my name on the phone, I'm probably going to either give you an opportunity or make sure that you're going to get in front of a client today. Okay. Every single time I call, he picks up the phone. You know why he does that? Because he knows what's going to happen. So guess what? Every time I call him, he picks up the phone every single time. When I called in front of the $2 million client to come out to paint the house, guess who picked up the phone? Renato. So if you don't do that with all your vendors, ladies and gentlemen, you're missing something.
Love that.
So smart and so easy.
Well, guess what I did for the client? I painted the part of the house and then there was more to paint. I didn't pay for it. I asked them to pay for it because I said only so much. And there was more stuff to do. And I said, I'm not paying for all of it. Hey, Renato.
Yes.
Thanks for answering the phone, dude.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling. Hey, listen, I appreciate all your help on Fells. I'm going to make sure I circle back with you. I'm just on a training session and I want to make sure that I actually use you an example. And I always appreciate you, buddy. You're a rock star.
Yeah, that's good.
I got another opportunity for you next week. Stay tuned. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. Be well. Bye.
I love that. Sven, you are amazing. I'm so thankful that you joined us today and you shared, just so graciously you shared with us so many great tidbits. And I want to be respectful of your time as we are now at 12:01. So I am going to wrap this up, but thank you so much. And I'm going to see you at Family Reunion.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
This was
thank you
awesome.
everybody for joining. And
Bye.
next month, we're going to do the 3rd Tuesday instead of the 2nd because we have our regional awards. So it'll be 1 week later, but I'll send that out.
Brilliant.
All right. Thanks
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye, Sven.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Happy Valentine's.